أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله على حبيبه محمد وآله وسلم. Today's topic is recognition or the cognizance of the Dunya, and we are going through the order of Kimya Sa'adat, written by Imam Ghazali. So I start with the hadith which comes in Jami' al-Tirmidhi and various other books. So it's in Jami' al-Tirmidhi, this narration that Sahal ibn Sa'd radiyallahu anhu narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if the world to Allah was equal to a mosquito's wing, then he would not allow the disbeliever to have a sip of water from it. So, لو كانت الدنيا تعدل عند الله جناح بعوضة ما سقى كافرا منها شربة ماء. And then, so there it is, this hadith is there yani with the similar wording. It's in other books as well. So even if the person doesn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah gives dunya to him. So that is so unimportant that Allah will give dunya anyway. And what we are doing is we are just going after this dunya. All our efforts are only for this dunya and not for akhirah. So our next topic will be akhirah, inshallah. But what we are doing, what I'm trying to say is that we are just doing everything for the sake of dunya. And it's also in Al-Quran Al-Kareem, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. That indeed he who has purified his heart has become successful, has succeeded. And how to purify the heart? By dhikr and salah. So he did Allah's remembrance, made Allah's remembrance, and he prayed. And what salah? So salah means prayed, and as we were discussing in the previous audios, so salah means praise, and salah means salatu ala nabi, durud sharif. Salatu ala Nabi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So dhikr and durud, they go together. Dhikr and salat, yani namaz, prayers, they go hand in hand as well. So that's how you purify your heart. And then there are other things as well which are very important in purification of heart. That inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. So when you pray, your aim towards the praying will be to negate all the evils and all the pollutions and the darkness of your heart. So wash away your heart, dirt in your heart. So wash it away. So we're just reading the Suratul A'la ayah. So وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى, and mentions the name of his Lord and praise. So and then بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. Indeed, this is in the former scriptures. So this thing came in the former scriptures as well. That you بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. but you prefer the worldly life, while the hereafter is the better and more enduring. إِنَّ هَذَا لَفِي الصُّحُفِ الْأُولَى. And indeed this is in the former scriptures, صُحُفِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمُوسَى, in the scriptures of Abraham alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that you are preferring the worldly life, and on the other hand, while the hereafter is better and more enduring. So dunya is nothing. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees the dunya, it's nothing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He gives everybody. That's what is meant by Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ar-Rahman. Ar-Rahman is that He is kind to everyone, whether someone believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or whether he doesn't believe. Allah is equally kind. And that is what's the lesson for us as well. We should be equally kind to the believers and the non-believers. All are the human beings, and we need to serve the humanity. Of course, we need to propagate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's message, but with love, with maw'iza, with sincere advice, and with hikmah, with the wisdom, and with the love. So we shouldn't propagate hatred. We should propagate the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the love for humanity, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is being Ar-Rahman, is being kind to all the human being, irrespective of their caste, irrespective of their beliefs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving dunya to everyone. So, but coming back to the topic, so the dunya is so much unimportant. And people say, do for the dunya whatever you want to live in the dunya, and do for the akhirah whatever you want to live in the akhirah. That's what is required. Do for the dunya for what you require here, and do for the akhirah for what you require there, or for what you have to live there. So whatever you have to live in this dunya, do for it. And whatever duration you have to live in akhirah, do for it. So you'll realize that the akhirah is unlimited and never ending, and this dunya's life is so short that even the day of Qiyamah is كان مقداره 50,000 سنة, that is 50,000 years is one day of, just one day of akhirah. So that's what is dunya. And the problem is not that we are doing something for dunya. The problem comes when we start preferring dunya over akhirah. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is condemning in the Surah Al-A'la, that don't prefer dunya over akhirah, because akhirah has two unique features. One is it is better, and then it's everlasting. So it's better. And when we come to akhirah, we'll talk about the ni'am, i.e. the blessings of the akhirah, of the life of the hereafter. But today we are just talking about the dunya. So this world is a path on which the man travels on his journey onwards to the next. At times it's compared to an oasis at the end and foothold of a vast desert of the ma'rafah. This dunya, i.e. this world, and the akhirah. So the next one, the hereafter, are two conditions. One state pertains to the man's life and times, which is so nearer to him till before his death. The hereafter starts after his death. So the key to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's ma'rifah of his creations. So man needs two things in his life. One is to protect the heart from those things that kill his heart. He should provide its food. And number two, to protect his body from the damaging effects of those things that kill it. He should likewise provide it its food. So basically, heart, the physical heart, he should give food to the body, and then the other things is protect his body from the things which may kill. So in a nutshell, what a person needs for this dunya: the food, clothes, and shelter. And that's what certain political parties made the slogan: food, clothes, and shelter. These are the basic needs. So all other things are luxuries. So don't waste your time in luxuries. Yeah, do acquire some luxuries, but don't give those luxuries a place in your heart. Like Imam Bahauddin Zakaria, rahimahullah, he was very rich, but he never gave space to these things, these worldly things in his heart. So he had some stores of wheat and grain in his storage, but when a famine hit the area of Multan and the surroundings, Imam Bahauddin Zakaria rahimahullah, he opened his warehouses to everybody. Whosoever wants whatever amount of the wheat and the grain, they can take it. That's what it was. So this dunya is nothing. So and just do for dunya whatever you have to live in this dunya, and do for the akhirah for whatever duration you have to live in it. Okay, so there are things, for example, things are found on the earth like vegetation of all kinds, mines and animals, etc. The land surface in itself formed the basis of human residence, agriculture. So these are things, we need to work for the dunya to acquire our food. Okay, and then minerals like iron, steel, bronze are used for making implements, tools. So we can work around the minerals, we can work around the machineries, metals, foods, and also seek some benefits from the animals, because it's in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created these animals for the sake of mankind, but not to give any preference to these things over the akhirah. And if we understand this thing, that we have to die one day and then go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we will never make any sin. And if it comes to our heart that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always watching us, we won't be doing any sins. If it comes to our attention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us, Allahu ma'i, we won't be making any sins. And if we believe in our heart that we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for each and everything, we won't be making any sins. So that is what we need to realize, and not overly indulge in the pleasures of this life, as overly indulging in the things of this life is damaging for the akhirah. So means that, okay, do something for the dunya, but First of all, don't do anything which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden. Secondly, do whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained. So 5 times prayers and abstaining from all kinds of sins. That is the basic. But when we are going on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we do something extra to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because in Allah yuhibbul muhsineen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the al-muhsineen. Like the people who do something extra to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah likes those people. So that's what we need. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has just made fard 5 salat, yes, we can get some extra time and we can pray some extra rak'at. Like sunnah al-muakkada and fard we have to do anyway. So do some nawafil every day, and nawafil of shukrana. So shukr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim all the time, and saying solid salutations upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam all the time. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Or what we prefer usually, Sallallahu ala Habibihi Muhammadin wa alihi wa sallam. So say that all the time. And remain in the state of wudu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just wants us to do wudu, for the salah. But if we go on the darja of excellence in our ibadah, in our worship, what we need to do is that doing something extra. So meaning being in the state of wudu all the time. And if we do that, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَالْبَاقِيَاتُ الصَّالِحَاتُ خَيْرٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ. But the lasting deeds of righteousness are better in reward with your Lord. And in the Kimya Sa'adat of Imam Ghazali, there is also another hadith which is narrated. There is no as such reference, but the only reference I have is Kimya Sa'adat. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ad-dunya mal'una wa mal'unun ma fiha illa dhikrillah wa ma walah." The world and its worldly assets are anathematical, but those things which aid and assist a person in remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are blessed. So this treatise on the world and its many traits is hitherto sufficient for the purpose of the present discourse. Its scholaries and other related matters will inshallah be discussed in due course. So I leave you with the Arabic nasheed, which was recited by Munshid Ali Haider. Innama Dunya Fana. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to do for this world the duration for which we have to live in here, and do for the akhirah the duration for the duration we have to live there. اللهم آمين بحرمة النبي الكريم الأمين عليه وآله الصلاة والتسليم وبرحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
إنما دنيا فنا ليس للدنيا ثبوت. إنما دنيا فنا ليس للدنيا ثبوت. إنما الدنيا كبحر يحتوي سمكا وحوت. إنما الدنيا كبحر يحتوي سمكا وحوت. إنما الدنيا فنا ليس للدنيا ثبوت. ليس للدنيا ثبوت. ولقد يكفيك منها أيها الطالب قوت. ولقد يكفيك منها أيها الطالب قوت. ولأمري عن قليل كل من فيها يموت. ولأمري عن قليل كل من فيها يموت. إنما دنيا فنا ليس للدنيا ثبوت. ليس للدنيا ثبوت. فاغتنم وقتك فيها قبل ما فيها يفوت. فاغتنم وقتك فيها قبل ما فيها يفوت. قل بخير تجتنيه أو تحلى بالسكوت. قل بخير تجتنيه أو تحلى بالسكوت. إنما دنيا فنا ليس للدنيا ثبوت. إنما دنيا فنا ليس للدنيا ثبوت. إنما الدنيا كبحر يحتوي سمكا وحوت. إنما الدنيا كبحر يحتوي سمكا وحوت. إنما دنيا فنا ليس للدنيا ثبوت. إنما دنيا فنا ليس للدنيا ثبوت. ليس للدنيا ثبوت. ليس للدنيا